G'day guys, welcome to GJBricks. Now in this video I am going to show you work in progress on my train bridge. Now if you've watched my last couple of city updates, you know I've changed the way Studsburg looks and I've really focused on trying to have two train lines around the city. One of the side effects of that was that I needed to actually make my train bridge much bigger. So in the old city the train bridge was about 80 centimeters long. In the new one it needs to be 120 centimeters long, so that's the first problem. So obviously that's an extension of 40 centimeters, which is quite a lot of Lego when you think about it. But then just to make things extra hard on myself, I also made it 3 times the width to accommodate 2 lanes of trains. Now I could have gone with 2 close lanes of trains, but the problem with that is when it came out onto the city side in particular, it would have needed to veer out very quickly, and as anybody who works with Lego trains knows, you can't do a quick split like that. It would take up about 1/3 of my city width to actually put the 2 curves in to do that. So I took the hard option of making it wider, but in doing that I also took the opportunity to do something really cool in the middle of it, which I'll show you now. So what this is, for anybody who doesn't know, this was the Marvel Superheroes Bridge Battle set, and I had 2 of them which I joined together originally, and I'd always planned to make it a bit bigger, extend out the ends and finish it off basically, because if you looked at that set it's only sort of half the bridge because half the bridge has fallen away, and I joined them together but it didn't have the ends on it. So I've always wanted to actually build out the ends. Now I'm just building out the ends and the sides. Now there's a couple of side effects of doing this as well, which means I need some bloody big columns underneath it, which is a problem. And also it's quite a big span in the middle. So I mean it's probably about a 70 centimeter span in the middle. So I need to actually add a little bit more reinforcement in there. I've actually been trying to put my engineering hat on and try and work out how I can pre-stress. If you look at a lot of bridges, they actually curve, they go up like that, which isn't the easiest thing to do in Lego. The idea being that when they settle, they push on each other and it's naturally strong. That's not the easiest thing to do in Lego. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'm sure it's possible. It just needs to be, you know, literally a couple of studs. It won't be pretty, but it'll work. And what I'll probably do to achieve that is make the pylons slightly higher than they need to be, so the train is naturally going up ever so slightly. That will be the solution to that one. So there's just a little bit of a technical insight for you. So let's have a look at the bridge and see where it's got to. So this is part 1, and then hopefully part 2 will be me finishing this bridge off, or at least doing the first version of this bridge. And I'll talk about what I actually want to do with the bridge in terms of detailing it as well. So here it is, the work in progress, as you can see. Supported beautifully by these 2 Lego City boxes, perfect for turn this up. Part of my backlog I haven't built yet, but you can see what I mean about the actual width of it. Now what I said about doing something a bit cool, I put my crossover in the middle of it and I think that looks blooming awesome. Let's just get these 2 trains out of the way. I'm just testing it. See how that train's rolling forward? That's what I mean. So what I want to do is actually try and have it angled up slightly in the middle so that actually the tension is already there to actually stop it. Basically it'll bring it back to flat, is the theory. Actually another way to do that as well would be to make it 1 stud longer than it needs to be, which would also naturally have the effect of making it bigger than the space. That could work too, or 2 studs, maybe 2 studs over the distance. But anyway, you can see what I've been doing here. Let's get a bit of rubbish out of the way. So yeah, what I've done, basically gutted the bridge down, took out, literally everything is gone from the original bridge. Now what I've kept is these sides I took out and added in an extra piece in the middle here. I've got the bit to go on the top there. I also had to do one bit here. You'll notice that there is 1 brick that is lower than the rest. Everything else is 2. This one is low, and that's for when these trains cross over so the noses don't hit. Simple as that, but had to be done. I've also just pinned down the junction here, just because this is GJBricks track, and one side thing with GJBricks track is sometimes they don't actually have the bits underneath to actually hook it down. They are actually working on some new designs for that I've seen up on their Facebook page, which will address it. So whereas these ones you can actually press down, in some spots you can't, and that bit here where the actual mechanism is, because the mechanism is all the way underneath, it can't actually be pressed flat, which is a shame. Up here I've taken what was originally the a column at each end and doubled them up. But this isn't actually just the straight sticking them together. I actually took them apart and rebuilt them. So it's different to the original system. It's actually a bit lighter. And then obviously I've put this big column in the middle and then this walkway through the center. And that goes back to what I was going to say was I actually was thinking about doing a walkway through the whole middle, but that's just impractical. I think I'm going to do a walkway to just here and have like an observation deck like you sometimes have on bridges, because bridges are pretty cool for actually getting a good view of places. So I think I'm probably going to do an observation area there. I was considering doing it on the top here, and I still might do that. A lot of cool bridges in the world, Sydney Harbour Bridge is one, you can actually go up the tower and see from the top. So what I might do is have one end open like this that you walk into, and then at the other end here actually have it so it's a tower you can actually go up and look from the top of it from. Maybe even there's a little vendor and things like that up there. So that's one of the ideas I've got for actually doing it. And then through here we'll put a couple of details in here to do with like train running gear, like signals and things like that, just to make it look a bit more functional. Now I added in a third guide rope in the middle here, and one person said they weren't sort of overly impressed with, they didn't think it needed to be there. Personally, if I take that out, I don't think it looks right without it. I think that looks a bit wrong. I think it needs that extra guide rope in there. Just one, not two. Two would be too much, but I think the one really finishes it off. So I think that's good personally, and that's again positioned in such a way that it doesn't affect the trains going past. There's no issue there. I personally think that looks good. That's what I'm going to do there. The other end, I'm going to make the other end look like this, but obviously probably have some staircases up there, which means that center column will be slightly different. Probably be 8 wide. Oh no, it won't be 8 wide, sorry. It will be, have a staircase in there somehow. It'll be a narrow staircase, but we'll make it work. You can do narrow staircases in Lego. People don't need safety ropes. One other change I made as well is this is all now 10 wide. Originally it was 8 in places because of the way the bridge sloped down. So I've made it sure it's 10 wide. That means things like the Disney train and stuff can go through here. Yes, I am getting the Disney train. I'm a sucker for Lego trains. Plus the new train isn't 8 or 10 wide, but it does make sure I've got enough space. I also made it higher, so that's actually 1 brick higher again. That makes sure that everything can go through there. So the next step's going to be finishing this other pylon. So I've started laying the template for the roof here. It's probably going to change slightly from that, so I can actually have the guide rails on it and stuff like that, but I've got an idea as to how I'm going to do that one. And then in terms of the columns, this isn't their height, this is the height of their columns. Incidentally, I found one of my missing Lego figures. My kids put my my classic Lego shell man down the bottom here. I've been looking for him, I don't know where he went, and yeah, there you go, the kids had put him in here. So but these columns, I can't make a full width column, it's just way too much Lego. There'll be something I have to build over time. So what I think I'm going to do is build 2 columns, probably, so this is where the columns sit, and do them like C sections, so you can't actually see the bit in the middle is hollow, but it actually is only the edges. That way it will save me a bucket load of bricks. And again, I've already got the ends ready as well, so these just sit on here like that. So that's all done. I just need to do the top and the middle, and then that's done, and then the column underneath, and then work on, this still needs to come out about 20 centimeters, so about this much more to be the full width. But I think that's going to be pretty cool. Here's a let me just take this train off. I love this train. This is going to be motorized soon. Brilliant. If anyone didn't get one of those when they did the promotion, I highly recommend it. It is a lovely set. I got a review up for it in the corner here now if you want to see it. So yeah, here's the train switching over. So I think this crossover works brilliantly. And you can see what I meant about the nose here. Let's just see if my camera's going to focus properly. See, just gives it perfect amount of room. Now, if I had the white train, the white bullet train, wouldn't have worked. But these trains, it works, and all the other trains I have, it works perfectly. So my camera autofocus is all over the shot today. What is going on there? But I think that crossover looks pretty cool. And anybody that doesn't know this, the Channel Tunnel that goes between the UK and France, actually in the middle of the tunnels has a crossover like this. Something to do with equalizing the pressures. So rather than having everything on one side in one pressure, it's actually made by swapping it over, it equalizes the pressure. Something to do with that. So that's what the channel tunnel has. I've copied the channel tunnel on a bridge. But anyway, let me finish what I was saying. So these guide ropes will go from both sides, and then again they'll come out on this side as well. So that's my next step. So I'm hoping to have all that done this week. I decided to focus on getting this done because it's such a major piece of the infrastructure, because it joins this side of the city to this side, and effectively till I've built this, I can't do anything in the harbour area, and I can't actually connect up the city side. So I've gone with this approach for now. One other thing as well, in the original bridge, I did have a Ninjago District under the pylon here. That's not going to be here now. That will actually be here, because there's enough room now to do that. Originally it was built into the pylon. Now it's going to be next to the pylon, which actually makes it a lot easier. So Ninjago City will be here, Ninjago Docks will be here as I had it before, just with a bigger gap, which means I can put a proper little market in there now, which I'll be quite excited about. So that's my thoughts on the bridge. That's what I'm doing. That's what I've been working on. I think it's pretty cool. You can see there's a bit of a structural issue here where I'm going to have to actually do what I said and do the engineering approach of making it just a little bit wider than it needs to be, so that it actually arches upwards and puts the whole thing under tension. Should work. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this bridge. Am I going in the right direction? Do you have suggestions on how I can improve it? Detailing that can go on here. One thing you will notice is underneath there's nothing. I haven't wasted time or bricks doing this, but what I actually will eventually do is probably do just some simple lattice under here. But again, I'm not in any rush to do that, because that's another bucket load of parts, and you won't even see that, to be perfectly honest. So you can see I've got a couple of colour bricks I need to swap out. Like here I've got blue ones. Those red ones there, you won't notice. They'll be gone. They'll be buried away underneath, and it's just me trying to make it structural, because I've used quite a lot of Technic across here to build this initial strength in. All of these beams across here are Technic to actually make them strong. So it's a combination of Technic and bricks to keep the actual parts requirement down, but keep the strength up. So it's all joined together, so it's not going to come apart in a hurry. So I'm pretty happy with how that's coming along so far. I think it's really cool. So I'm going to aim to get that finished this week, or most of it finished this week. Might have a couple of rough edges, but that means I can then officially open the Studsburg City Loop 3.0 or 4.0, whatever I'm up to now, and actually start work on detailing the city. So anyway, I'm going to stop there. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. I post regularly. And thank you very much for watching. Here's a couple more videos I think you'll enjoy. And also, be sure to check out some of my other pages on the internet. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Got my own website, GJBricks.com. I'll stop now. Thanks for watching. See you soon.